We made it 25, man. And we made it to the end of the year.
I can't even do this without scratching because I've already had like feedback about me.
I was about to
Like,
say.
you know, there's so many that stuff that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And in these 25 episodes, that one of them was like me scratching myself. I mean, the kind of comments I've gotten.
Yeah.
You know, what about the content?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, what do you say to that? I don't know. I mean, so it's
25 episodes on. I've been told about how I scratch myself instead of like what I've been talking about.
Yeah, so it only feels right, like for the very last episode of the year.
So I need to be closer now.
For it to be like retrospective, introspective.
Well, more for you than for me because I mean, I've said a lot during this last 25 episode. I mean, I've always said a lot throughout my life, but I'm going to be asking you this question. Like, this is your first time doing, obviously, a podcast, and I remember the first time you being the introvert self and wondering where you'd head this. And you're like, I'm the layman. I know you're the star. Yeah. And to me, it didn't matter. But obviously, it has been quite a journey for yourself. What has it been like for you from the start and now to where we are now, 25 episodes on? And this is just the first season. Obviously, we're going to go to a second season in 2025. But you yourself, what has the journey been like from the start?
Yeah, I mean, like, funny you mentioned that. Like, today I thought about like, oh, maybe I might do a video about what it feels like to do 25 episodes of a podcast. Yeah. Having said, I would have never done it like if I've never met you. So like, thanks for that. I mean, I've always had this thought in mind. I've mentioned it to like a lot of friends in the start. So, and I mentioned it to you once. I said like, yeah, you should like restart your podcast again. But I never thought I would like even make it this far. And I have to say, yeah, I mean, a lot of it is. I mean, I'll never be an extrovert overnight for sure. I mean, you know how there's a lot of those actors that they like, even the famous ones. I could be wrong, but I recall like people like Johnny Depp, things like that. When they made movies and they said they'll never watch their movies. Yeah, I think I'm like, like I think about things along those lines. But at the same time, yeah, I find it very beneficial because I mean, I get to pick your brain, and especially here in Sarawak when we're talking about like creative industry, right? I mean, there's really not. I mean, maybe there'll be people to look up to, but it's not like you can just look up like stuff they say or like the blogs that they write and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I've always tried to keep this like really short centric in terms of like, yeah, you can say we can do all these things, but can we actually make money in like humble old kuching, So yeah, in that point of view, like I look at it as like useful because I'm still figuring it out, But I don't know. I mean, how do you see it? Like,
no, I mean, at the end of the day, I've said and done a lot of things, and of course you've picked my brain and all that. But for me, I mean, I've always wondered, especially these last 25 episodes, I've always wanted to ask you, like, stuff like, what were your thoughts in terms of, I'm coming in.
yeah,
I mean, you've of course you've yourself have said that you've worked in KL as well.
yeah,
But I've not just worked in KL. I've worked abroad. So I brought in a different experience. But I've always wanted to ask you, like, in terms of your experience when people like us come in,
Yeah.
how do you guys feel? I mean, in general, but not you personally. How do you guys feel when we come in and bring in all these ideas, all these stuff that are not really, normal to what you're used to here?
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to know, how do you guys feel? I mean, over the 25 episodes, I've given my expert opinion in
Yeah.
that sense. But how do you feel about that? And your peers and your colleagues and whoever's been there in that line.
Yeah. I mean, just speaking from like personal point of view, yeah, I, I would love to learn. I want to know more, but I can see how, like, if I was a lot, uh, I mean, if I had company here and things like that, like, yeah, I can see how I'll feel threatened, if there's, because, yeah, people like you will come along and realize, like, oh, like, how much do we actually know? And I feel that way when I work sometimes, and then yeah, part of the reason doing this podcast, because like, okay, I mean, the idea was like I get to pick your brain, and eventually we get to pick other people's brain. So I'm just purely looking at it from a like utilitarian kind of view, right? Utilitarian kind of view. I mean, like, yeah, like, I just want to know stuff about like how this industry works, how things like that, how do you make money. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Is there a like actual answer? I mean, like, you've done all this in KL, and then you come to this, like, almost like a pioneer, like, right, coming to an industry, coming to a state where the industry is like almost at its like nascent phase, maybe like semi-mature in different things. I mean, yeah, I mean, how do you look at it? Like, do you feel like it's a long way to go, or you come here at the right time to take advantage of opportunities? I mean, is it wasting your time teaching people here? Or is it a long term view? Is it a thing like you can make money like eventually, or you can make money now? This kind of things I want to know when I speak
Sorry,
to you.
I am like scratching my
Yeah,
thumb, so I understand
and
why
I'm
why.
rambling, and
No,
I'm
no, no.
thinking
It's
here.
not
Yeah,
rambling.
so
I'm actually listening to what you, because
yeah,
it is quite true. I mean, I don't want to actually this whole episode. I don't want to be
yeah.
speaking a lot because I really want to hear from your point of view in terms of
Yeah, because
how.
I don't really know where we are in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I worked in KL but that was like quite a long time ago, and like now you came back and like, yeah, is it like, is things right for you to like take advantage of, like opportunities are here, or like, do you come here and feel like, damn, there's like ways to go?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I'd like to know, like, when we do come in, we um, I'm just probably talking about myself. I don't know about the other ones who've come in the past or who are coming in right now and supposed to be transferring. And for me, it's transferring knowledge.
Yeah,
And yeah, of course, you've always feel, and you're not the only one. I mean, guys who have been here who feel threatened the fact that we're a lot more experienced. But I'm actually coming back home to transfer that knowledge.
yeah,
Um, but the only way to do that is to be able to tell you what we've done,
yeah,
and for you to accept that the fact that we've done this,
yeah,
and also to understand that we literally are transferring knowledge for you to get better.
yeah,
But I always get this, you know, I think it's a pushback or it's a sudden. I think we maybe the problem maybe is we're giving so much information that you don't understand where to start. So that's why I always ask you guys, like, you know, when we're coming in, where do you want us to come in? We need to know at what stage do we come in to teach you, Do we
Yeah.
just flood you with information? What is it? Tell us.
Well, I mean, me personally, I cannot speak for everyone else. Like when I would like to know if I were to apply for like clients or jobs in KL, right? I want to know like, what does it take for us to be paid exactly the same? Like don't say you come to Sarawak and then you're gonna like charge a bit cheaper because like we have this much of a know-how. Maybe like our standard is not that great. I want to like no. I mean, I get a KL client. I want to be paid the same, and I just want to know what it takes like to be paid the same. Yeah. So what
Well,
does it take
okay,
to have the same
again,
standard?
I
Yeah.
mean, you have every right to ask for that, but this is not just about KL and Sarawak.
Yeah.
It is literally about experience. So we've had even within KL
Yeah.
where we're like, oh no, we should be paid the same as that company because we do the same thing.
Yeah.
But the client will turn around and tell you, it's like, so what have you done? What are your experiences?
Yeah.
What have you done in terms for you to be able to acknowledge or retain the 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 fees that we're going to be paying you?
Yeah.
So for you to be asking that, it's like, oh, we should be paid this and that, because they don't look at it as like, oh, because it's a Sarawakian thing. They look at it experience.
Yeah.
So they'll turn around and say, what have you guys done? If you haven't done what they've done, why should they pay?
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
it is at the end of the day, it's dollars and cents for
Yeah.
them. So I understand where they're coming from. So for us to be arguing that, and I tell this in the same ministry as ours, it's like, we should be paid the same thing. I said, wow, depends on what you've done.
Yeah, I mean, I was asking more like what would it take to be paid the same way?
We just need
Yeah.
more exposure. We
Yeah.
need to get there and get more jobs there. And that's why, like my company, we're going to KL now to
Yeah.
get more jobs.
Yeah.
It's not because we don't have jobs here. It's not enough experienced jobs here. So that our staff. So this is where we, as a state, turn around and go, hang on a minute. Instead of them coming here, why don't we go out there and compete? And we should.
Yeah.
We should go out to KL and compete.
Yeah.
And all our companies who are here, instead of just waiting for handouts or waiting for companies to give us a job, go out there. This is what we've done. My company has done personally, because the best way to get the jobs are to go out there to KL and compete and get the jobs.
I mean, is that something you would like encourage, like
Yes.
Sarawakian companies to do? Like,
Yeah, I do feel that we should do that, because we'll be better off when we come back. We're not gonna be going anywhere.
Should we compete at a cost level also?
I think so, because we'll probably be cheaper, but we'll be more effective. Because I've proven that with my company.
Yeah.
The fact that we've gone out there and done stuff a bit cheaper, but we've done.
So KL standard at a discount, basically.
Yes. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not saying that we're going to kill off everyone with much lower prices. We're not. We're just saying that we're slightly cheaper because we're from Sarawak, but we're willing to take that risk and take over your whatever project you have.
Yeah.
And I think that's great, because they'll put KL on its toes, because they'll be like, oh, how come these guys? And they'll fight back, which is fine. But at least we're getting in there and getting.
I mean, from your experience, do you see like other states doing that, like with Penang or Johor?
I don't know about other states, because
No.
Sarawak, like I said, I'm going to stop scratching. Sarawak, as I said, we're very different to even Sabah.
Yeah.
So you can't compare it to Semenanjung or anyone else. We've got to ask ourselves whether we can do this job and get it done properly. And in terms of if we do this, does it mean that we do it in the sense of I mean, God, I'm not segueing. I'm just trying to say that whether we do it as a Sarawak company that does well and pushing the Peninsula companies, or do we just step back and go, oh, we can't do it? But we can. That's the thing.
Okay, back to the original topic at hand. Like when you got here, right? So are you surprised to find? I mean, did you expect to find a place where all the opportunities are ripe to be taken?
Well,
Or like, yeah, I'm gonna come here and then I gotta transfer my knowledge. It's like there's a big hurdle to be like.
well, let me ask you the question before I get that.
Yeah,
Like, when you came back,
yeah,
uh, how did you feel? Because I've been out for a long time.
yeah,
You've got a more of a understanding of what goes on here, because you've been to KL,
yeah.
you've come back. What was your first initial?
Yeah, just a personal experience. I remember when I came back and then I got into like digital marketing, right? And then I was freelancing at the start. And then I remember explaining to people what I did, and no one heard of like, oh, what was digital marketing? And then yeah, and very quickly, right? Like in 2 3 years, when I mentioned that, it's like, oh, there was like everyone was doing digital marketing. Yeah. So the problem was at first like trying to explain to people what I did. Then after that, I was like, everyone said they're doing it. So what's the industry standard? So like yeah, I think we're at this phase now where uh yeah we're trying to like filter out so what are the legit companies and what are not. Who are the legit players and who are not. So I don't know. I mean, the opportunities are there, but can you survive on that on its own? I don't know.
I mean, that
Yeah,
the question always begs, is like, even though that you may have one or two stuff that you can go ahead and do, and but the other question I would ask is like, coming back, was there any resistance to your ideas when you wanted to
yeah,
change
yeah.
stuff?
I mean, in the first place, no one has heard of like what I was doing, which was like at the time that blew my mind. I'm like, I mean, you don't know what digital marketing is. I mean, but if you mention it now, like, yeah, oh, my son does that. Like, so everyone's gonna say that now. But I remember when I first started, it's like, what the fuck is that? Why do I need to hire someone to run my Facebook page? You know? So yeah, I mean, and then yeah, the question remains like, well, why am I paying you to run my Facebook page? So, but yeah, I mean, I think I got a hang of the question a lot more now. But there was a lot different like 5 years ago.
Oh, five. Oh, I mean, that's
Uh,
still a while back. Yeah. Looking back in these 25 episodes, do you still remember what our first episode was all about?
no, I don't. Shit.
Ooh,
Yeah,
what was
it
our first episode all about?
it had to be about marketing and
Why did you come back?
yeah. Oh, why do you
Yeah.
come back?
Why
Yeah,
did I
yeah,
come back?
yeah.
Yeah. I remember I said, it's like, why did you come back? I mean, you were in KL. Why did you come back? Was it a personal thing? You can say it's a personal thing.
No,
I wonder.
it was a personal thing.
Mm.
Like I got involved in a project that I thought was interesting. Like I ended up doing the Bintulu project.
Mm-hmm.
So not every day you get to work for a museum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was it. But I looked at it as a employee. You know, I mean I can imagine you're someone who's run businesses before or run companies before, and then you're like coming back like, yeah, I'm gonna look for clients, multiple clients. So yeah, that's a whole different thing. I never looked at it that way. But when I came back and I realized like, oh yeah, that there's little jobs like that, especially like my dad's an architect, right? And then after they design condos and things like that, then you realize like, oh, they need people to do like the launch, the sales, and then yeah, I mean, from your KL knowledge, it just felt like, yeah, natural to like, oh yeah, why not I just, I do a launch video. Why not I run their website, why not I start a Facebook page for them? Yeah. So that led to another thing, but at the time, yeah, for sure it was difficult to convince somebody like, yeah, why would I give this guy to put a Facebook page? Like, yeah. So maybe there's a lot less resources now. They say, yeah, it's important, but thankfully, like my son does it. That's what I hear right now. Yeah. Oh, my son knows how to do this. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Fine. Hire your son then. So.
Yeah, man, but your parents are quite, you have your mother who's like a really good cook and all that. Then your dad's the architect in the family.
Oh, I wasn't like talking about me, by the way. I was talking about other people.
Yeah, I
like,
know,
yeah,
I understand.
clients,
I'm
but,
just,
yeah.
I'm just like, your dad's the architect, your mom does, culinary,
Yeah.
and she's really good in it. And then so you've always had this like very different. You're quite abroad in terms of your exposure to
Yeah.
the family and stuff, and which is very different to me because I've got a dad who's a lawyer, mum who's a teacher, so that's typical standard stuff. You are like Chinese Iban, but you've got dad who's like an architect, mum who's culinary.
Yeah.
How does that work out for you? I'm like, where do you stand? Because you're Chinese in that sense, but so you've got that, I've got to like get into business or whatever, do well in something, maths, English, whatever. No, it's not English, maths, science, and all that. Then you have your mum who's like the cook, like, hey, culinary. Wow, what was it like? I mean,
Well, it's funny. I actually thought about it today. I was like, oh, do I come from like an actual creative family? Like one was like a chef culinary thing, and one is architecture. So like on the surface, you think, oh, these are all like creative industry people trying to do. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not so sure. Like
it
I
is.
remember my dad told me like he wanted to be a doctor, and then like I remember they had a interview for a scholarship. I think the Colombo plan or something like that during those times. And then they asked him, "Why do you want to be a doctor?" He said, "Oh, I want to find a cure for cancer." And he told me they laughed at him.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
What year was this?
The Colombo plan should be during the British era. I think just before.
60s?
Uh,
70s? How old is he
yeah,
at the time?
before going to uni. So
When he went to uni, what, 70s? How old is he now?
he finished Form 5, so
My
it should
goodness.
be, yeah.
No, I'm not surprised that people laugh.
Yeah, so they
at those
laughed at
times
him.
they were quite ignorant.
Yeah, so he said, "Oh, I want to find a cure for cancer," and they laughed at him. So he couldn't get a scholarship for medicine, and they said like, "Oh yeah, so just try architecture instead." And he was like, "Fuck, it's a free scholarship, so he became architect."
Wow.
Yeah, so it's amazing. I mean, he told me eventually like he enjoyed it, and I mean, I guess he's kind of a creative person because like he's a guitarist, plays band, but yeah, it's funny he got dismissed for. Now you would think it's quite a legit answer, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
you want to fight cure for cancer? Like, great, we need more people like you. But they laughed at him, and they said, nah, why don't you just try to be an architect instead?
Oh, that's so interesting because at the end of the day, it's like, actually, no, since we're in my turn to be asking, so how did your parents meet? So it's like, culinary girl, do you remember? Has anyone told you about
Yeah,
it?
they got introduced by, we had our mutual friend, Livan's parents.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I mean,
No, I told you that.
I did, for the audience
because
sake.
I said how did I know her, because like, yeah, they introduced our parents together, but what the whole story is, I can't recall.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I mean, it's just like interesting times when everyone came from mission schools, everyone spoke English. So, like, yeah, it was easy for, I mean, there was a lot of mixed marriages at the time, right?
Yeah. I mean, what about you growing up and stuff? And what was it like at the time? I mean, being different because you're not just Chinese and you're not just Iban. So yeah, having your parents growing up, did they get that kind of resistance from other people who were considered pure and all that,
I don't think so. I mean, I
or
don't
you
know.
didn't hear about it? You
Maybe I didn't hear
never
about
talked
it.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from their side, I don't
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
What about you yourself? What experiences that you had growing up? Or you just used the same surname to keep yourself
I think
safe?
there was, but I've always wondered about that.
Mm.
Like if I went to like a normal government school, right? If I went to like St. Joe, St. Tom, like would I get? I mean, yeah, it was really hard when I went to Lodge. So I don't know. I mean, people pick on people who like seem different, right? But I don't think there was any overt racism, lah.
Right, right.
But there was surely an identity crisis, though,
Oh,
at every early stage because like you're English speaking, and then you got a on one hand a grandma that speaks Chinese, on one hand grandma that speaks one. So of course, like you're always gonna question identity, but thankfully Sarawak is quite accommodating for things like that. I can imagine being if I were to grow up in like overseas, like even Australia, UK, stuff like that. Yeah, they're gonna like really shove it in your face, But here, yeah, thankfully, like after school, I found many people like me, So
many people like me.
yeah,
That's so funny.
I mean, like
There's a lot more people like you here than you would have experienced in
yeah, you
Semenanjung.
don't want to be so unique, man. Oh, I mean, Semenanjung for sure. Like I would be just straight up Chinese, you know. I mean, I would have to explain to them what it means to be that. But at least
Mm.
in Sarawak, it's like, yeah, I mean, uh, as unique as you thought you when you were a kid, like sooner or later, like yeah, I mean, I mean, how many like mixed Chinese Ibans are there, man? There's like plenty, lah. So yeah, that's a great thing about being back. Maybe back to the original question, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
it is. It is. I mean,
I don't want to be just Chinese in KL.
mm. I mean, even now, like being. I mean, we talk about the 25th episode, but even now, it's like what we're seeing in terms of just race, not work or anything like. Do you see now, because Sarawak being so unique in terms of family and relations and all that? Even you and I both have experienced. We know we have families who are
Yeah,
so mixed. Do you think that's really good in terms of how we move forward as a state,
yeah.
not a nation, as a state, compared to everyone else?
Whew, man, that's a deep question, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. Like first, I would say we are lucky. Like I think we just got the luck of like uh, demography. So it just so happens like we're all like kind of balanced into like Malays and Ibans and the Dayaks in general, and then the Chinese and like it's like one third each maybe, and then yeah, just because of that, like it's just kind of lucky the interaction is high. But no, I think we can't take it for granted. I mean, there's surely I'm I don't know what it was like during my parents' time, but I know they got together because they all went to mission schools and they spoke English. Now, like when you have like a group that doesn't speak like Malay or English at one point, like and then a group that doesn't do this, like yeah, uh, I mean, it's surely going to be a problem. I mean, we're lucky that in Sarawak, like yeah, there's a lot of, like Malays and Dayaks that go to Chinese schools. So then maybe we have like different things that will be divided by language more than race, maybe. you know. But I mean, any rational person would say like, yo, what do we need to like just like, have a like common identity, you know? I mean, I always ask Chinese people that. So like, no, what is your plan for like nation building? Then, if you don't, if you reject like what the government here does, right? So what's your plan? So what's the language? What's the system? What's the school? I mean, what? We can't just like act, you know. And I might get a lot of hate for this, but it should come from them. I mean, if they want to maintain like the way they do, so like, I mean, do we ignore like the majority that is like around us? I mean, I'll be fucking scared, man, to like just, you know, we can't just live like an immigrant, you know. So you know, but then again, yeah, I don't know why. It's quite a deep question, and yeah,
No, I mean, you know, after 25 episodes, I've always wondered the stuff that goes through your mind when, especially when I'm you know, having my conversation with you. But again, you know, going back to the 25 episodes, we've had stuff where we've talked about career, we've
yeah,
talked about my industry, and obviously the latest one about being a director and and the sort. And there has been cases where, you know, my I would love to ask, like, you know, again, how do you how did you feel when I'm explaining stuff about my industry,
yeah,
and there were probably times you felt awkward, like I don't understand
yeah,
I'm trying to relate myself. And to me, I always get worried about that, because like, how do I explain to you guys where what not just my industry, and you always told me, I'm a layman, I don't know anything. Like, I'm
yeah,
trying to explain
yeah,
what I do without you, you know, condescending, and me feeling, anyone feeling condescending,
yeah,
or someone feeling like they, you know, they don't understand where I'm coming from.
yeah,
And it's a very fine line when I'm trying to do that. So I get scared when I'm explaining something you guys don't understand it. So even to you, I'm like, do you actually understand, or realize where I'm trying to, you know, make my point? Because, you know, we can have all the videos and the stuff coming out there, but
yeah,
do you understand in the pure essence when I'm trying to explain it? Because that's where I'm heading,
yeah,
especially the last 25 episodes. It's a lot to take in.
yeah, yeah. In hindsight,
Hindsight's a bitch.
in hindsight, like yeah, it's it's good to admit what we don't know, right? And when we talk about Sarawak, right? There's yeah, I mean, there's no short of creatives, and their ideas will be like really great and stuff like that. But I mean, there has to be an industry standard in terms of like how things are done, you know. And in the end, which is why I'm trying, what I'm trying to find out. So like, there has to be metrics in terms of like how these things are like measured. Like, what are we? How do you quantify that something is good, that something is successful? You know. So yeah, I mean, I which is why I'm here, which is why I'll learn, uh, which is what I'm trying to figure out, and which is why we need like people from like all kind of industries to come here and say like, yeah, I mean, you think you're good? I mean, this is like, you know, this international standard. This is how you measure like what quantifies as like something successful.
I mean, you've come back, obviously much earlier than I have. I've been here for the last 4 years. I've had a lot of resistance in my own industry,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about the broadcasting and TV industry. Obviously, I'm not going to mention names or broadcasters. I think we're smart enough to understand where it comes from. Um,
I was
and it
almost going
is,
to shout it out.
yeah, well,
Okay. Yeah.
it's
Yeah. But yeah.
really, to me, it's really sad that we're getting that kind of resistance, because as much as you want to do well, you can't be fighting amongst the people who are the ones who are actually want to improve you.
Yeah.
We're not there. And I will repeat this again. I'm not here to take over anyone's job. I'm here to consult.
Yeah.
And that's just my industry. Now, we are now getting to the stage where we've got the pan Borneo. Let's go to the bigger scale. We've got the pan Borneo, and I've seen it. I remember when I first went in the pan Borneo in 2022, which is 2 years ago. And I am also I remember being on the road in 1996, and that was, God, 20 over years ago. And I'm getting the pan Borneo Highway 2 years ago, and I compare it to now. Wow, what massive difference.
Yeah.
But my question is, you see this, do you not understand that people who have the expertise are trying to assist? But
I mean,
4 years in,
I mean, just playing devil's advocate, right? I mean, have you ever considered that is how the message is like passed across? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, you've probably worked in Timor. Like, yeah, we haven't like talked about like what you've done there. So,
but it's going to be a while till we talk about Timor.
so like when you come to a place like Sarawak, right? I mean, is it is it a thing about like tailoring your message for like the audience here?
I don't know. I'm asking you. That's why, because
I mean, I don't know if you come in with your like KL bravado and like, oh, I've done this, I've done that, and like maybe the message like just wouldn't work. I mean, like who gives a fuck like KL, you know? Like,
no, we like I said. I mean, I'll be honest. In the first year, it wasn't about the bravado. It was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. This is what we've done, blah blah.
yeah,
And it did. It had a lot of nerves within the industry, because like, why is he coming in? He says, why is he thinks he knows everything. I'm like, actually, I do, and I was fighting that.
yeah,
But then within the second, third, and now we understand
yeah,
how the conversations should be led, or how it's spoken, or the messaging that we have. But yet, there's still this resistance, because they're like, oh, hang on a minute.
yeah.
So where are we wrong in that sense? Like, now there's when I remember first coming in, and when there was already a change in terms of like government stuff, I was still the president of I was still president of MMM. We're changing stuff
Yeah,
there and then, working with PJs, working with other people to make sure that things are done. But coming here, you want to do the same thing. You want to have to change, and there was a resistance, right?
yeah,
However, the irony is, once I've got into the rugby, we just had the elections, and we have a new president, Haji Zainal Abidin Haji Abdullah, great guy, and he's very forward thinking. No nonsense about him. And I was like, wow, it's so different to what I'm used to in the last 4 years, where everyone's been resistant. And now people are calling me up, because I'm the secretary, like, with their problems. And I asked the secretary prior to this, did you have this kind of conversation before? He said, no.
yeah,
So it's a different thing altogether. So that's progress.
yeah,
Yeah. So for me, that's really important, that now I have like people giving me feedback. But that's why I was asking you. It's like, prior to this, was there any conversation or feedback from the expertise, or did the guys up top just say they knew what they're doing? Because I get that sense all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if I would just like guess, like just right on the spot, part of it is like, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say that how things done in KL is a lot better than how we do things here. I mean, yeah, you gotta tailor the message because like people are gonna roll their eye like who
Mm.
gets shit by KL. But then on the plus side, I do think there is a sense of complacency here. I mean, we haven't really been through the war, so yeah. I mean, just throw in I mean, if you're gonna like run the Olympic Games, we're all gonna be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I can say that like objectively as well. Like,
Well, Sea Games is already a big
yeah,
thing.
I mean, I say something like Olympic because we'll be drowning if we ever to organize anything at that level. I'm not saying we're not capable eventually, but things. Uh, yeah, you gotta learn how to do things, right? So yeah, clearly. I mean, when I came back to KL, it's no surprise. Or when I came back from KL, it's no surprise that things are more laid back. Things are more like a lot more easier. But yeah, I mean, this when there's more work to be done, when there's more companies, when there's more marketing and PR to be done, then good marketing is good marketing anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
So yeah, you can't just be like, yeah, your dad's like happy at the son's teacher marketing work. Right? Like, yeah, my son knows Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's gotta be like standards and things to measure it too. So
Mm.
yeah, maybe part of it is like learning about it, and part of it is like teaching people what these standards are. Maybe that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, literally one last question before we end the year with I was just say with a bang.
Okay.
But moving forward for you, I mean, you've heard from me countless of times how I want to get things done with
Yes.
whether my career, my personal, my sports or anything. But for you yourself, in terms of where do you want to go forward in 2025? I mean, I don't talk about personally, but just generally, we've talked about Sarawak as a podcast.
Yeah.
Your personal thing is your personal thing. I'm not gonna get into that and dwell into that. But as a Sarawakian, where do you want us to go forward in the next I don't year, in the next 5 years?
I mean, if you're just purely talking about like our industry, like creative industry, right? We have to be how I would know that our stuff is good if it's like it penetrates this bubble that we're in.
Mm.
I mean, if we're just talking about like our own shows, our own things like that, and we're just talking about among ourselves, like it wouldn't mean shit,
Yeah.
Like it has to be like outside, like I mean, like forget even just West Malaysia, maybe even like international. That's where we know, like okay, like we've reached a certain standard. Like if we're all just patting ourselves on the back, like just internally, and then you ask the average West Malaysian, like, oh, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? Like, yeah, no, I mean, then this, yeah, we haven't really like gotten better,
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, whether that means like marketing, promoting our own like companies or like creative industry, like our own movies, like industries, yeah, we kind of need to like break out of our own bubble.
Mm. No, that's really interesting to hear because, like, just for me, it's like being on the outside.
Yeah,
It's really hard to not really hard. I don't think it's hard. The first year, like you said, like being it wasn't being egoistical. It's just like I know
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna do things like that, and then realizing that being reminded that we're like you can still get things done. You just don't have to do it that way.
Yeah.
So I never said it was going to be people going to be resistant to it, and hopefully the same with you. Moving forward. So how do you reconcile the fact that like you can, have things done now, moving forward without having to worry about us telling you what to do, or with the government now, they have their own stuff. How do you push your stuff, to get stuff out there without having to, like, getting us telling you it's wrong? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
even, well, for example, like your museum stuff, right?
yeah,
Like, we're like, yeah, it's no good, but you believe in that stuff and you want to get things done. That's how I felt. It's
yeah.
like, you've got to look at your museum stuff, like, and especially museum stuff, like, that's, no one's going to be watching them. What? No one's going to believe that this happened, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And you've got that fight with you, and you're discovering new stuff and you're putting out there, and the skepticals going, no, the history wasn't like that. How?
I mean, like, if we're talking about people from the creative industry, like, let the audience decide. And if you want to put it out there, let the audience be like global. I mean, it's not like you put your stuff out on like social media and then you put a setting and say, oh, only Malaysian audience or things like that, right? So let the audience decide. So it comes to a point where if the global audience responds,
Yeah.
then we know we have like kind of like moved up a level.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about just Sri Lankans engaging with the content, like, yeah, sure. I mean, but then don't charge like international prices.
Well, on a final note,
Yeah,
looking towards 2025, I mean, not just our podcast,
yeah.
but what are your thoughts about 2025? I mean, people say, oh, we've got this resolution or that, but why not on a personal level? I mean, even our show, where do you think we should step up? What kind of topics we should be talking about now?
Well, I think we've reached a point where like we need guests,
Yep.
and but I think yeah, there'll be certain guests that we can get a lot more out of than. I mean, I've seen some of the forecasts here, and like,
Don't worry, you'll be sitting next to the guest anyway, because I'll still be in my own seat.
and no hate on the other, no hate
No
on,
hate at all.
on the other things, but
Yeah.
I think the kind of questions that we would grill them on, like, it probably wouldn't be addressed over there.
Yeah.
I think so. So like, I mean, that's the whole point of all these different shows, right? So yeah, we'll be able to like grill them in a different way, and yeah, it might. I mean, why did we start this shit in the first place? We wanted to move like everything forward, the whole industry, like whether it's the creative industry, the TV industry, the movie industry. Because we came at, when I met you at the point, it's like it's maybe visibly
No,
like,
has been.
yeah,
just joking.
non-existent,
Yeah.
like at this point, like we were came here, I was like, yeah, how would anyone get a start in like TV? How do I get a start in movies, in stand up, in comedy, blah blah blah. So yeah, if we could do anything to that's kind of like set like any kind of foundation, right? We would have done something. I would have done my little bit here, just like sitting here asking questions. Yeah, I would go as far as to say if anyone is like an aspiring actor, comedian, director, like if they're not watching our podcast in Sarawak and they're working in Sarawak, they're really fucking missing out.
Yeah, I think so, because it's like you won't get this kind of thing, especially it's recorded, because I'm constantly talking to people about how they should do stuff, blah blah, or giving them my experiences, and because we've recorded this, and hopefully they'll just have a look or listen and watch and understand that, and they'll have a lot more questions.
Yeah,
to it
and I hope they ask, because like if it's not as useful as I'm saying it is, right? Then like, yeah, please ask. Like, we want to make it useful,
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's not useful, then like what the fuck am I doing here?
Oh dear.
Yeah. So we want to see this industry here. I mean, like everything else that like Sarawak is doing, we want to be like less reliant on like West Malaysia, you know. So if we can build like creative industry here, or like why wouldn't we? You know?
Well, I know I'm moving forward. I'm really excited to see, to hear who our first guest is, because yeah, it's going to be something different
Yeah,
next year. I mean, second season, we will have a guest that we can actually be able to banter with and all that. But saying that, for and I've done God knows 500 of his shows.
yeah,
Yeah, 25 episodes just between I mean, we're not the chaos kind of people, close
yeah,
kejap, but
yeah,
layman, with our thing here going on so that people can hear us.
yeah.
How do you feel that especially the introvert that you are, and you've reached milestones, mate.
Yeah, I mean, like 100 views on one of our episode is like fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
for me.
Actually,
So,
the last one before Tekang was 100 views.
yeah,
I was shocked. I'm shocked.
yeah. So we have like a few episodes which is like 100 plus. So yeah, whoever is watching, like yeah, like that's great though. So just want to do a part. I mean, I don't know if I'm that comfortable with fame as you are.
It's a bit too late now, isn't it?
I
No.
wouldn't say it's fame. I
Hey,
mean,
hey,
if
hey.
it shot up, right? I mean,
That's what. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
yeah. But having said that, like, yeah, I hope the message comes across. You know? I mean,
No,
that's
yeah.
literally the most important thing for me.
I mean, right now, yeah, it is. It is. So at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that the message is sent across, and it'll be out there on the screen a bit later. But 25 episodes, I'm been very thankful to have the both of us do this show. I mean, we've had some really odd times and odd hours doing this stuff as well. So, I'm looking forward to 2025. I'm going to be quite busy, not just with work. Hopefully, get more jobs, but also with rugby. So, once I sort that out, then I guess it will be easier for us to move forward. But saying that, for 2025, we will try to have a guest, every episode. No promises, but it'll be good for you to be able to banter with someone, and me probably looking on. I might even sit in the corner and you guys talk. So we'll see how it goes, because there'll be a lot of stuff going on. You think it's only 25, but you've done 25.
Yeah.
Our target obviously is 100, so we'll it's not that hard. We didn't start at the beginning of the year, remember?
I've actually had friends like came up to me and said, "Oh shit, I saw your thing, like, oh, your episode." And they told me like, "Oh, yeah, we thought about doing a podcast. I've always done a podcast, and like, but we've never started, you know." And that was me like for a long time before this. So
and there we go.
Yeah.
And here we are, and we just keep going. That's all that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So, on that note, please have a great Christmas. Have a great December. We look forward to seeing you soon in the coming year, 2026. So, it's from myself,
25, right?
for the 26th next year. This is
Isn't
25.
it 24 now?
25.
No, it's 25.
No,
next year.
25. This is 25.
No, it's 25 next year.
No. We just, the one Tekang was 24 episode. Episode 24.
Oh, I thought you were saying 2024. Like
No. This is 25.
Yeah, episode 25. Shit.
That is.
I thought you were saying happy 2025 next
No.
year.
I just said happy 26 for next year. 26.
Yeah.
You've had way too much water. So this is the 25th.
They don't serve anything else here.
Yeah, we serve water here. So 25th episode here. So we look forward to seeing you on the season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
So we'll stick to 25 episodes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the coming year, 2025. Bye-bye.